Help Us on the Way for Orchestra is a symphony in 5 movements, and we're trying to get it performed. My name is Barney. I am the composer of the symphony, and I hope to be able to deliver to success very soon in getting this symphony performed. It's been some time since I've updated everyone formally through a video. As you've seen, I've been a lot on shorts as well on social, but I found a little bit extra time this week to kind of give you the latest information. Please stick around to the end because I will be sharing the most important information that we all need to know. And at the very end, I will go over metrics and my forecast for what the future is for the symphony, okay? The most important thing I want to remind everyone, because there are a lot of new people, is that one, the symphony is complete. It was completed on Christmas Day 2022, so about 2.5 years ago. I just mentioned that because sometimes I think people think this is in the process, and it is not at all the case. We're in the process of trying to get it performed. The next thing I want to remind everyone as well is that we have an official playlist where you can hear entire full complete passages of the symphony. In today's day and age, with people have very short attention spans, we are primarily broadcasting and advertising the symphony on shorts. And so shorts can be 10 seconds long, 20 seconds long, 30 seconds long. But if you want the full deal, then you can go to the official playlist, and I update it every week or every 2 weeks. Another option is if you're directly on a short that you really like and you don't want to go searching for the playlist, many times at the bottom of the screen, it'll say related video, and that will have the source, the full short. Okay, next I want to discuss the 2 essential paths. I've talked about it probably last time was about a year ago, but I just want to remind everyone because it is very important to see clearly the directions that we can go in. So the traditional path to getting a symphony performed is to get an existing orchestra to perform it. So the advantage of that, of course, is that they would have the infrastructure, they'd have the conductor, the musicians, the rehearsal space, percussion, because percussion is very expensive to rent. So obviously, logistically, it is more practical. However, in today's day and age, I'm finding it's increasingly difficult to get anything performed. Budgets are just always really, really tight, especially if you don't have a big name for yourself. And I'm actually becoming more interested in the second possibility in which I would fund the symphony, okay, which obviously is going to be very expensive, but hear me out. So the vision I actually have for the symphony is not just, okay, here's a concert, done, but I actually envision documenting and showing and advertising the entire process. So, for example, when there's auditions, showing the audition process. Because keep in mind, this symphony is going to be performed not because we, the musicians, wanted it to be performed. I mean, that would be wonderful. There's just not enough of us. We don't have enough leverage. It's really going to come because there's a strong backing from the general public. Okay, and I think thinking about the general public, if we could document the entire journey, for example, in the rehearsals, I want to videotape rehearsals as well as record, okay? And obviously this would not be to make anyone look bad or to make anyone, show mistakes, but to show the entire journey. Okay, and this would be a great way to get the public interested. And of course, if I funded the symphony myself, then I would let the musicians know that there would be recording taking place in all that. Of course, if I was working with an existing orchestra, I'd be subject to all kinds of rules and regulations that might actually hinder our ability to really sell this symphony and just keep the public mobilized. But in either case, whether it's the traditional path or the non-traditional path, the direct route is to blast out the symphony, to talk nonstop, to promote it, which is exactly what we're doing at this moment. So it remains to be seen which path will be chosen. Next, I want to talk about what I'm doing to get this symphony performed. So I see my roles at the moment are twofold. One is to promote the symphony, okay? So promoting the symphony means shouting about it like here, talking about it, mobilizing the troops, sending out shorts, sending out samples. And the main house for the symphony is right here on YouTube on this channel, Help Us on the Way _for_ orchestra, specifically in the short section. Okay, that is the main way that we are just selling the symphony, getting activity going through the symphony. Okay, I also have another YouTube channel for all of my compositions, in which I've been heavily promoting the symphony. But I think more and more I need to focus on other works like my opera ballet on that channel. So more and more on this channel will be like the sole source of information, the sole like repository for the symphony. I'm also on some other social platforms, which I'll talk about at the end when we talk about growth. And now my other job is to make high quality audio. So if you were following from the very beginning of the journey, I didn't have quality audio and I was really concerned that I would take interest away from the symphony. But since then, I listened to your suggestions. I got Note Performer. It helped, but it wasn't sufficient. And a number of you asked, well, where can I hear the whole symphony? The reason I have not posted the entire symphony is I have not had time to polish each entire section, its entire symphony. It's like 40 minutes of music, 35 minutes of music. And I have seen that when I take the time to polish the sections and make them sound, add more accents, add more life to it, because keep in mind, there's a lot of sections that are very rhythmic. But in a computer, there's no natural accent, right? Digga, 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 digga. It's always the same. And that's actually very dead and dull. So there's a lot of little things I have to do to make the music feel alive. And keep in mind that for the general public who doesn't really have the ability to imagine it by looking at the score, they have to kind of hear what it might sound like. This work is necessary. So for that reason, I'm going to continue that work. And hopefully we get someone who wants to perform the symphony before I even have time to go through the entire symphony. Hopefully we just get that traction sooner. Okay, I want to talk about the growth, but I want to quickly address some criticism that we're getting for the symphony. So I will quickly kind of summarize all the main criticisms I'm hearing. It will be a little bit sloppy, right? It's a generalization. I'm morphing many different remarks, but trying to be as honest about it as I can. And the common complaints or critiques that we're getting for the symphony is one, too much repetition, there's no melodic development, there's no development, which is not true. The harmony doesn't change, it doesn't go anywhere, it's simplistic, and we even get occasionally remarks that are absolutely personal in nature, like saying that the composer myself doesn't have proper training, needs to go back to school, should compose jazz, as if that's somehow an insult, or something like negative and about the person and the craft. So these kind of personal remarks, I think we can shove aside. It cannot be taken seriously. We want to be professional here. So thinking about the other criticism, what I have to say is at this point in time, the samples that I'm showing, though they will never compare to a live performance of real musicians, they're pretty spot on in terms of how I'm hearing the symphony. So if people are hearing it and having negative reactions, then they just don't like the music, or perhaps maybe when they hear it live, they'll change their mind. But we're not going to chase those people in some vain attempt of conquering everyone. I think there are enough people that are hearing this symphony and legitimately like it, they enjoy it, they love it, and they see the beauty in it. So our strategy here at the Help Us on the Way channel is to double down and find those people who want to hear this symphony perform live, specifically the general public, because this symphony is not going to happen unless the general public demands it. Okay, I'd like to talk about growth of the channel. So I first started really blasting Help Us on the Way spring 2024 after I lost the competition. It became clear I was never going to get my due time through the competition process. And started with Instagram, and then, eventually had this YouTube channel. But I would say the real daily grind and power and all that, what we're seeing now, didn't really start until this past spring, till beginning of March. Starting from beginning of March, I've been releasing every day, almost every day, shorts for the symphony. And now we have more than one. We have multiple, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 a day. So we're going to start with this channel, the Help Us on the Way channel. So at the beginning of March, we only had 12 subscribers. And by mid-July, we have 121, which is a percentage growth of 900%, which is staggering. But I have to say, when the number is small to begin with, it's very easy to get a higher percentage growth rate. So we can't read too much into that. But I still think for a symphony with a composer that doesn't have not very well known, that's pretty impressive. And we hope that's going to like grow exponentially. Next, we have the official channel, and at the beginning of March, I had 132 subscribers, and now we're at 225. So that's a 70% growth rate, but you'll notice that there's more subscribers gained than the Help Us on the Way channel, okay? Next, we have Instagram. Instagram is actually kind of interesting because when I first started promoting a symphony in spring 2024, that was my main like outlet with Instagram. And you'll remember I was really focused on getting an existing orchestra to perform it. I was contacting lots of orchestras, just constantly emailing, constantly like taking action, constantly talking about it. So the platform is growing very quickly. However, as I've talked about previously here in other channels, I eventually decided that that was a waste of time. Not a waste of time in the sense that like now I know, okay, so now I know. But it was a waste of time because I wasn't getting any traction and I was sending out these emails into the void instead of doing what we're doing now, which is bringing it to the people. And I think if this symphony is going to be performed, it's going to be because the people have said, we actually want to hear this. And think about for an orchestra or like the director of an orchestra, if we see numbers, right? We see like 10,000 subscribers or whatever the number would be of people who have expressed interest in this symphony, then it makes it more likely it's going to be performed because what's everyone's biggest fear? Oh, new music, no one's going to show up to the concert, okay? So I found with Instagram, when I was doing that strategy, I was growing very quickly. But then as I started banning that and moving, I was posting less. And ultimately, when I switched to just showing like the music, I actually found I started losing followers on Instagram. So to me, what that suggests is the people who are interested or the people who are leaving are the people who are interested in that traditional approach, so contacting orchestras, and maybe were interested, but once they heard the music, they didn't like the music. So Instagram, we're actually kind of, every time I post, we're kind of like losing followers. But what that means is we just have to keep posting more to gain the people who actually like the music, okay? And then we have TikTok. TikTok, I was really surprised. I was very averse to using it because I heard so many bad things. But I have to say, it's really positive community there. It's really nice. You can just post the music and people are just there for the music. You don't need to have some fancy story. So we went from 23 subscribers to 201 subscribers, and that's a 770% increase. And I definitely think I will be putting a lot of energy in TikTok for the time being. So where does that leave us now? Okay, is this enough to get the symphony performed? Well, we will never know until we get the symphony performed. Okay, this could be enough if an orchestra director sees it and likes it, but we haven't gotten an orchestra director who is interested or someone with a position to influence a director to program it. And again, we're looking for people who like honestly, like we like the music. We want to put in the work. And that has not happened, which means we need to just continue working. I'm going to continue making shorts, bringing new sections to light, remodeling older sections, spreading it more and more and more. And I will not let up until we can all hear the symphony performed live together. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.